I just bought this $500 gaming PC off of Temu. Now, was that a really smart idea? I don't know, but we're gonna find out in this video. Now we're gonna kind of break it up into 3 parts. First, we're gonna open it up and see what kind of parts we got, and then we're gonna boot it up and see how they set it up when you actually get it. And then of course, at the end of the video, we're gonna see if it's any good by playing some actual games on the PC. Hey man, how about instead of risking it for a TEMU Gaming PC, you tell them about Jawa.gg. Can't you see I'm in the middle of something? It's an online marketplace that was built specifically for gamers, and they have a ton of online PC listings for pretty much any budget. And they're backed by buyer protections. But if you're still nervous about it, they also have verified sellers on Jawa, which have been vetted one-on-one by someone on their staff. And you're really not gonna find anything from $600 or less that looks as good as these builds on Jawa. Like this one PC that has a Ryzen 5 3600 and an RX 6600 that's only like a $580. There's also another one that has a Ryzen 5 5500 and an RTX 2060 Super. He is right, and there is a code and a link down in the description if you want to save 10%. So the listing for this gaming PC almost seemed too good to be true. And when I was looking to try to find something off Temu that was affordable and not terrible, everything that came up was pretty much one of those i7 or i5 with the RX 580 2048 string processor. I wanted something a little bit better than that, and this one was actually surprising, and like I said, I'm afraid it may be too good to be true. Oh, it has an important read this first. It's got a pretty nice little quick startup guide. We'll see how well that helps us here in a minute. But we've got an AM4 CPU in here, supposedly. The graphics card also really shocked me for the price. For $500, a graphics card like this, I'm actually really surprised. Oh, they gave you a HDMI cable of some sort too. Okay, so they gave us a Wi-Fi adapter. We'll also check that out and see how good it is. And it looks like an HDMI display port to HDMI cable. That could come in handy for somebody, I guess. And the power cord, of course. All right, so right off the bat, it is an acrylic side panel, so that's not the best thing in the world, but you know. Now that we have the side panel off, it says, please remove the foam. I've also heard horror stories of people trying to boot it with this in there. That's dumb. All right, so overall, right off the rip for this gaming PC, one of the things that we notice is it's a little dusty on the graphics card, but it does kind of wipe off. It's not terrible. It's an Asus card. It is supposed to be an RX 6600, and it does look like that is the case on the sticker. And we have a gigabyte 500 gig SSD. Wasn't really expecting that. And a gigabyte A320 motherboard. Now I know A320 motherboard is not the best motherboard in the world, but you can still upgrade the CPU on this if you wanted to. And for the RAM, we're supposed to have 2 16 gig sticks of RAM. Sorry, 2 8 gig sticks, 16 gigs total. A lot of these pre-built PCs that I've seen only come with 1 stick of RAM. This one actually come with 2, so it's a solid deal. Now the CPU cooler is just a plain old Ryzen stock cooler. We're supposed to have a Ryzen 5 3500X. That's an unusual CPU that you really only see on places like AliExpress. So it is an unusual CPU, but it's supposed to be slightly slower than the Ryzen 5 3600. So we'll kind of see how that works here out in just a minute. We're gonna see how good the cable management is, although, you know, I don't really cable manage that well myself. But they actually did a pretty good job with their cable management, which I'm pretty surprised by. The only thing is these fans are pretty cheap. They're Molex. So the thing I'm concerned about that with is we're probably not gonna be able to change the colors on the fans. So yeah, we're just gonna have rainbow puke. Now the only thing really left for us to do now is we're gonna take it over here so that I can record the gameplay footage a little bit better for you guys. And of course, my gameplay footage is always gonna be on my second channel where I go through the full playlist of how it feels and everything like that. You'll just get a glimpse of it here, but if you wanna go follow the second channel, there's more just gameplay type videos that are all about FPS if you wanna see that. Now, one thing I don't see very often when you see these Temu or eBay or whatever TikTok shop PC videos is that they don't show you what happens when you first turn the PC on. A lot of these people know how to troubleshoot or do things to get the PC set up. I want you to see a raw performance of what happens as soon as I turn the PC on. So we have it hooked up to this portable monitor here, because if I plug it up to my capture card first, you won't be able to see everything. So here is the TEMU PC, and we're gonna turn it on and see what happens. I don't think I flipped the switch. There we go. Now it should turn on. Yay! So we should see a picture right here on this screen if it shows up like it's supposed to, and hopefully we will get something on there that will show us exactly what we need. No, it won't, because I don't have the monitor plugged up. All right, take 2. Now the monitor's plugged up. This is not Temu's fault or the seller's fault. it's my fault. They already have a profile set up, MXZ, so that's good. All right, so now that we know that it works, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna plug it up to my capture card so that I can actually capture the screen a little better so you're not just trying to see it here on this portable monitor. And we'll see if they set it up ready to game and if there's anything we have to do to get the most performance out of it before we start. So the first thing that we're gonna be checking is to see if this Wi-Fi adapter that they sent us actually works. And it is showing that we have Wi-Fi. We were able to get connected, so let's run a speed test here and see if we're getting close to, you know, at least what we should be. Now I paid for like 600 download and this is getting a little over 200. So that's probably like the cap maybe for this type of adapter. I don't really know, but that's certainly not terrible by any means. And we'll see how it holds up in gaming so that you guys can understand or have an idea of if it's worth it maybe for you guys. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is take a look at the task manager to see if we actually got what we said we were supposed to get. So the CPU is in fact the Ryzen 3500X. We do have 16 gigabytes of RAM, but it is only running at 2666 megahertz per second. So that's not the maximum speeds. It's possible that maybe either this motherboard or CPU itself just can't reach those speeds. We're gonna leave it like that just to see how it games at factory settings. If you would wanna know how to tweak a TEMU PC, let me know down in the comments. We might make a video on that. And of course we do have the RX 6600 and that's showing up, so that's a good sign. But we need to see if they have drivers here. So they have the AMD Radeon software and the driver is up to date. That's really awesome. So that means all we gotta do is download some games and we can start playing. All right, so the first game we're gonna try out is Black Ops 6. So let's hop into a game and see what kind of FPS numbers we get. So for our graphical settings, we are running the extreme profile 1080p with no upscaling, and I believe we're also doing no frame generation. And we're gonna see what kind of FPS numbers that we can get. And right now we're getting around the like 70-ish FPS mark. Oh man, 70 FPS, that's not too bad to be honest with you. I mean, this is pretty much max 1080p settings. 1% lows are pretty good too, running around 49 to 50-ish FPS. All right, we got one elimination there, so that's nice. But still, holding around that 60-ish mark, it does drop a little bit here and there. All right, so now, of course, we gotta try the balance preset settings and see what that's about, you know? And balance preset settings, looks like we're gonna get about the same. Not gonna be a ton different here. Looks like we could get close to 80 at times. Oh man, but we're still getting around that, it's like 67, I guess you could say. I don't know. Oh, I did get that guy from across the way. That's nice. Oh, but then I died. Let's just try the minimum. So like if you wanted to go down as low as possible, minimum went down to our 50% render scale. We don't want to do that because then it runs at like 720p. So definitely don't want to do that. Now what we can do is we are at the minimum settings, but we're at 1080, like 100% render scale. So at 1080p, which will be nice. Oh man, got shot before I even got up there. I mean, we're getting like 90, almost 90 FPS pretty solidly. Oh man, it doesn't help me get my shots though, because I'm a bot. I mean, we're holding 90 pretty dang good, and that's more than playable, and that's native, so there's like no upscaling involved in that. So that's pretty good, but let's just turn on FSR 3 and see what we can get there. If we use FSR 3, I think we are gonna be a little bit limited with the FSR 3 because of our CPU. Our CPU is gonna kind of hold us back a little bit when it comes to that because we just can't push out the frames that we should be able to in the other scenario. So there wasn't a huge difference when we turned on that. So let's try frame generation though, and that'll kind of be our last ditch effort to see what kind of our maximum FPS is. You do have, I guess, you know, the people say you'll have a little bit of latency when you deal with this sort of thing. Oh no, come on, get him, get him. Oh man, I did get one, but the other one got me. But I mean, we're getting like 150 FPS with FSR 3, so it's just up to you if you care about latency or not. 150 FPS, that's not bad. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna finish this game up because I don't wanna leave my teammates by themselves, and then we're gonna go hop into a very easy to run game and finish with Fortnite. All right, so now we're gonna hop into some Fortnite and see how good the experience is. We'll play a little bit on DX12, and then we'll have to play another game so that we can also play performance mode to see what the FPS difference is with those two settings. We're going for the highest FPS possible here, so we're just gonna do like competitive settings. All right, so it took us a while to load into this match, and in fact, we're only getting like 12 12 FPS at the moment, which is really crazy. We'll have to change our settings and see what they're at, because we may be on some kind of like crazy settings. Oh gosh, yeah, that's why they did it on the highest presets possible. Almost, they didn't do it on epic, but almost the highest presets possible. 3D resolution, we want that on 100, and we want view distance on far. That should help us out some, but it should be way better than this. It's like the CPU is just bottlenecking the crap out of this graphics card, and like it shouldn't be doing that. Like the Ryzen 5 3500X, 6 cores, 12 threads, like I know it's not the best CPU in the world, but like it should be able to play Fortnite. Some of the textures are starting to load in now, so that's good. We're getting like 40-ish FPS. I don't know exactly if I had some kind of weird setting on that I just didn't notice or what, but now we're chilling. We're on the low settings. It's still using a crap ton of the CPU, but now we're at least getting over 100 FPS, and it's really smooth. So, I mean, in a typical world, you would put your settings on before you load it into the game, but I didn't do that for whatever reason. But right now, we're finally chilling. It just took me a second to figure out what I had going on there. And our 1% lows dropped down to 6 right there for a second, which is kind of typical of these lower end AMD systems. So 1% lows are a little iffy still, like it's still a little stuttery. I think part of that is probably, again, the CPU. All right, we're gonna go push this guy. Oh, snap-a-doodle-doo. Ah! All right, let's try performance mode. That was really bad. All right, so now we're running Fortnite on performance mode, and the good news is we actually got into the game before the battle bus launched, which is an improvement. Oh, we're up over like 300 on the battle bus right now, which is kind of insane. But our CPU usage though, if you look here at the top of the screen, it's not very good. Like I mean, we're still rocking like the 98, 99, thinking that we're probably still gonna have those really weird 1% lows, which for someone trying to be super competitive in gaming is not going to be fun. One thing that we'll also take a look at that while we're playing in this game is after we kind of see where our FPS is going to kind of just stay around, we can cap the FPS, which will give us a chance to probably increase the 1% lows, but we won't know that for sure until we kind of see where we're going to peak out at. And right now it's looking like we're gonna peak around that 160-ish. Our 1% lows are looking pretty good right now. We're in the 100 range. Then it bottomed down to 5, but you know, we were at 100 for a second, so that's nice. Let's go get Bob here. Oh, see, we bottomed out to 3 FPS right there. And those 1% lows are just, I mean, it's just tough. This is another reason why a lot of people will say not to use an AMD graphics card, which I still think our problem is the CPU, not the graphics card, but I've had this stuff happen on AMD graphics cards in the past, so it's just something to keep in mind in general. So it's hard to say for sure in this PC. Dadgummit, Bob. Bob, thank you. I say, why will it not let me pick up Bob? Goodness gracious. That was very dramatic. Right now we're rocking in the 170-ish range. So the 1% lows are kind of balancing out for us. They're in the 20s, 40s, which is not great, but it's better than 5. I know I just saw footprints. I'm not crazy, am I? Are they down here in this thing? I swear, I see the footprints. Where are you? No! How did I not see him down there when I took the zip line? This PC is decent, but it's not the best thing in the world. You definitely could probably find a little bit of better options out there if you search for a little while on the internet. But let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you want to build your own PC in this price range, go watch this video.